Welcome to the Money Mindful podcast, where money mindset and life coach Meaghan Jean Smith, hey, that's me, teaches you how to transform your relationship to money and achieve your life goals so you can live a glorious, magnificent, delicious, awesome life and love being you. Hello, awesome human. Welcome to the Money Mindful podcast. I'm your host, Meaghan Jean Smith. Here we are for the third episode for this season, season 5. And today is part 2 of last week's episode. Last week, I spoke to you about why you need to create money and life goals. Like, why do that? Why do you even need to have a money and life goal? And then today, I want to talk to you about how to actually go about creating your money and life goals so that you can achieve them. But before we jump into that, I'm going to tell you about the amazing workbook. I told you about it last week. I told you about it the week before. I'm going to tell you about it every week until I go blue in the face, because I totally want you to have the resources that you need to change your relationship with money. So if you haven't got it already, I want you to pause now and scroll down to the show notes for this episode on your phone where you're listening to it. If you're in the car, okay, fair enough. You don't have to pause, okay? But I want you to do it when you stop driving. And I want you to go and download the free workbook, which is how to change your relationship with money, okay? It's going to take you through 3 really simple steps. And the approach is very gentle. It works with where you are at now. And it's not rah-rah, hey, you've got to do this, hey, you've got to do that. It's really about you finding what is not working right now in your relationship with money. Like, are there things that are happening with money that you don't like, that you want to change? How to identify those? And then what to do about it, like how to actually change that so you're having a positive relationship with money and getting the results with money that you actually want. So go and get that now. There will be a big fat link in the show notes. And if you're following me on Instagram, hopefully I'm being disciplined to tell you about it every day. So you go and download it. You don't have to have a bad relationship with money. It is simply not the case. Having a positive relationship with money is available to you. I want you to have that. It's very much a part of creating your money and life goals too, to do the work, to actually create a positive relationship with money. So important and such good work. Man, it frees up so many of your attention particles when you are not spinning on negative, stressful, shame, guilt, all the negative stuff that can come up with money. I don't want you to be going through that in your life. So please do yourself a favor and go and get this workbook. All right, let's get into the episode. So last week, I went through why you need to set a money goal, or just why to set a goal in general. If you haven't listened to that, it's worth going and listening to it. It's a short one. Apologies, the audio is shite because I forgot to turn the mic on. But you know what? It's okay, and done is better than perfect. And sometimes I make mistakes and I roll with it. And I'm not going to get my knickers in a knot that for one episode the audio wasn't the best quality. I know you can handle it. All right, so this week, let's talk about how to actually set your money and life goals so that you achieve them. So the very first step to do is just to write down what you really want, right? Like, you can do it as a brainstorm on paper, right? Just write out all the things that you want. It could be material things. It could be projects that you want to do. It could be an income, specific income that you want to make in your business, or it could be a personal income goal in terms of what you make in, like maybe you want to apply for a promotion. It could be to do with retirement goals. Like, you're thinking, hey, I want to, make have investments of this amount, right? Just get it out of your head and list all the things that you want. And the beauty of putting them down on paper is you don't have to keep spinning on them, but you can give your brain some comfort. Hey, it's all right. I've got this stuff written down. I'm not going to forget, right? You write down all the things that you want. And then what I want you to do is just pick one, right? Just pick one thing from that big list of things that you've written down that you want, and then go for it. That's what you're going to do. Now, I know you're going to ask me, well, which one should I pick? And truly, it doesn't matter. Because remember what I said last week, going after a goal, setting a goal is more about having an anchor point to make your actions, your behaviors, what you're doing in life, pointing in the direction of what you actually want. So if the goal that you're going for is something that you want, you're on the right track. And when you achieve that goal, or when you get rolling with that goal, you can add things to it. Okay? So often if you're not someone who is accustomed to setting money and life goals, I would pick something easier in the beginning, that's something that you feel more connected to, that feels more achievable. Now, I'm not trying to steer you away from big, juicy, wow, can't believe this is my life goals. But if you've never worked towards big goals before, sometimes it's a beautiful thing to set yourself a smaller, maybe shorter term goal that feels more achievable in the beginning, just to get the momentum going and to build some confidence, right? Like, hey, maybe this goal setting thing is easier than I think. Maybe I can really create the money and life that I want. Look, I've got evidence right here, right? I just did this small thing that I wanted to do. So now maybe I could do something a little, like expand on that, right? That's the essence I'm coming from here. But I don't want to put any limitations on you, and there's no rules. You get to pick which one you want. I just recommend picking one goal in the beginning when you're starting with goal work, because otherwise we can get overwhelmed or have mixed focus, like one thing pulling us one way, one thing pulling another way. That's my only advice or suggestion, or rather, can I use the word invitation? That's my invitation to you, to pick one goal, just to give yourself the simplicity of having one thing to focus on. That's all. Now, once you've got a goal, write that bloody thing down and put it everywhere. Put it on a Post-it note, put it in your phone, put it on the wall, put it all over the place, right? Because I tell you what, if you don't do that, you will forget your goal. I mean, maybe if you have a photogenic memory and you have that amazing ability. I know I certainly don't. And if I don't write my goals down, I'm like, what goal? Hang on, what are we doing? Right? Or is it just me? So write it down, because that at least gives you that reminder. Oh, hang on a minute. What am I doing? Oh, that's right. I'm working on getting my first client, or I'm working on creating $80,000 in my business, or I'm working on getting the qualifications to open my first business in whatever area that it is that you want. Or maybe it's that you've got a goal to get a promotion by the end of the year in your job. I mean, I'm just throwing random stuff out there. Who knows what your goals are? I'm sure you know more than I do, and I'm sure they're so much better than the ones that I'm putting out there. So then, once you've got your goal, this is the really juicy stuff, and this will really help you stay connected to your goal and actually achieve it. I want you to ask yourself the question and write this down. There's a lot of power in writing it down. Why do you want to achieve this goal? Now, honestly, I couldn't give a toss why you want to achieve the goal, right? Like, it doesn't matter. It could just be because I just want to make $100,000, or because I want to make more than my partner makes, or because I've just always wanted to live in Spain, right? But whatever it is, you don't have to have this earth-shattering justification for it, but you want to know why you want to achieve that. So when the going gets tough, when you're in the thick of achieving it, you can remind yourself, remember, this is really important to me to do this because I want my kids to grow up by a beachside town, right? Like, just having that thread, that connection to why you're creating the goal is super, super powerful. Okay, and then there's a couple of other questions that I've got for you. So I probably should have told you at the start of this episode, this is a good one to do, this is a good episode to listen to while you're sitting down so you can answer these questions. Next question is, if you achieve the goal, what will it mean to you? Right? Like, what will it mean to you to be the woman who created it? So if I go back to the example that I gave last week about when I first started my business, my goal was to make $54,000 in my business. I just rounded up to 60. Like, what that goal meant to me was that I was an independent woman who could make money with my brain. It meant that I was empowered to decide that I wanted to do something and then be able to do it. I mean, the money was just the cherry on top. Honestly, like, the amount of money was the least important thing. What was really important to me and what it meant to me was who I was becoming. Like, by creating that $54,000, I was becoming a woman who could make money in a business. I was becoming a woman who was a rigid life coach. Like, I was genuinely making money in a business. I was becoming a businesswoman, right? I mean, that goal meant so much more to me than the amount of money. The amount of money was just the anchor point, right? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, your goal could be something like to run a 10K. Honestly, like, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, but it's who are you as the woman who creates it, right? Like, what does it mean to you? Because if your goal is to run a 10K, for example, what that might mean to you is becoming a woman who cares deeply for her body, right? Or maybe it's you're becoming a woman who can overcome challenges, right? Or being somebody who's consistent, who can stick to an exercise plan, right? It's when you really dig in to why a goal is important to you and what it really means to you, man, it is fuel. It's like that little campfire in your stomach, that's burning away going, hey, this is why we want to do this. This is why it's so important. This is why I'm going to get out of bed at 5:45 in the morning to go for that run, right? You with me? So you can use it to motivate you or to also inspire you to pull your finger out and take action, right? To actually achieving the goal. So then some other helpful questions that I've got for you are, what would the impact of creating this goal mean for you? Like, let me say that again. What would be the impact of creating this goal? Like, for you, for your family, or for your community. So if I give you the example going back to the 54,000 in my first year of business, the impact of that for me was that would be huge. That would show me that I could earn money as a business owner, that I could independently make money from my own brain without working for someone else, doing it in a way that works for me and my life and my family, right? And the impact would be so amazing to be able to show my two daughters that it's possible, that you can set a goal for yourself, like you can create money, like independently. You don't have to go and work for someone. I mean, that to me personally has a lot of meaning, right? That I'm empowered to do that. That's what I mean. Like, what's the impact of that goal? Now, if we go to the 10K, maybe the impact of that goal is that your body becomes so much stronger, right? Maybe the impact of that goal is you start eating healthier because, I don't know, you realize that some of the foods, if you eat a different way, it helps you, gives you more energy for running or something. Maybe the impact of that goal, oh my gosh, I'm yawning away. Sorry, I'm here with you now. Maybe the impact of that goal is that you have a deeper connection with a friend that you go running with, right? But it's just you identifying those things ahead of time makes a huge difference. Also, sorry, I can't believe I just yawned on here in your face. It's going to stay. I'm not editing it out because this is real life, people. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Why is this goal important? Right? What's your compelling reason to create this goal? Now, that is going to set a firecracker up under your ass, because when you know why you're doing something, that's huge. Like, why it's important, why is it compelling? That is what is going to get you going. Right? Now, I mean, these questions are very similar. You can see they're just like slightly nuanced, but, you know, I mean, for me to be able to create money myself, like if I put myself back a few years ago when I created that money goal in my business, honestly, when I set that goal, it felt so unbelievable. Like, really it did. The idea of me being able to be my own boss, work from home during school hours, you know, actually creating money myself felt unreal. So to be a person who could do that was so compelling to me, right? To actually be able to think of an idea in my head and then create that, and then the impact and everything of that, of being a woman who could make money independently, man, that was compelling. It was seriously compelling for me. All right, so connect with your compelling reason. Now, I'm curious because I wonder if what you thought I was going to say was to set your goal, do this, do that, you know. But this mindset stuff, like really getting clear on your why that you want to do things, this is the stuff that I think, you know, when you're taught how to set a SMART goal at work, this stuff isn't addressed. And that's why you don't connect to the goal, right? Because you're not really in tune with why it's so important to you. Okay, so another question to ask yourself is, how do you feel when you imagine achieving the goal? This one's really cool because if you can tune into how you think you're going to feel, you can start embodying that feeling now, right? Like if I tuned into being someone who could make $54,000 in a business, that felt freaking powerful. Like that felt like, oh, I can take over the world, you know, like so amazing. And you don't have to wait till you've achieved the goal to tap into those feelings, right? Like I tapped into that power. It was like by tapping into that empowered feeling, that's what enabled me to become somebody who created $54,000 in her business, right? So you might think that you will feel X feeling when you reach your goal. Well, start practicing feeling that now, right? Operate as her now in that feeling when you're going for the goal, because that's what gets you creating the goal. Okay, now some little helpful hints for when you're going for your goal, mindset stuff. Again, some more questions. How will you need to change to become the person who achieves the goal? Now, this is a beautiful thing. I'm going to keep using my $54,000 example. I had to become somebody who believed that she was a businesswoman. I had to become somebody who believed she could make money in business, right? I had to shift who I was. You show up very differently when you work for other people than when you work for yourself, right? And there were things that definite, like actual skills that I needed to change. Like I needed to learn how to do business stuff, right? I needed to learn how to tell people what I did and make offers to help people, and then see if, they needed the help that I was offering, and then seeing if we were a good match. And I needed to be able to become somebody who was okay with when people said, no, hey, actually, that's not what I need. I'm not looking for a coach like you, and be okay about that, right? I needed to become somebody who was confident in what I was doing and my abilities as a coach. So there's so many things I needed to change to become the person who achieved that goal, right? So what do you need to change? And it can be really simple things, or it can be really big things that will gradually change over time. But for sure, if you're doing a goal that you've never done before, which I hope you are, because they're the really exciting, fun ones, is you will have to make changes, right? Because if you don't have to make changes, you're not creating anything new. And then the next question that works with this one is, what new identity will you step into, right? So if we run with the examples of what I've been giving you, if you want to run a 10K, maybe you need to step into the identity that I'm a runner, right? Or I'm somebody who runs 3 times a week, or something along those lines, right? For me, for my $54,000 goal, I had to step into being somebody who could make money as a life coach, who could run a business, right? I had to let the identity of being a teacher, I had to let that go, because I was a primary school teacher at the time. And I had to step into the identity of I'm a leader, I'm a coach, right? I help and support women create their money and life goals. I had to own that, right? And really step into that identity. And man, that was wobbly in the beginning, for sure, right? But it's just so helpful to know this information, because it can really help you have compassion for yourself, but also awareness in creating your goal that, oh, hey, yeah, I need to show up differently to create this goal. How do I need to show up? Right? And then another beautiful question that I love when creating goals is, what do you need to let go of? Right? Because for sure, when you are creating this goal with your identity and the things that you need to change, you're going to need to focus on new things, right? To become that version of yourself who creates that goal. And in the process of doing that, there'll be things that you need to let go of. And identifying what those things are is really helpful. So, the running example, maybe you need to let go of being somebody who, like this idea that you're not a morning person, right? Like if you get up and go on training runs, maybe you need to let go of the idea that you're not a morning person, because that's not in alignment with you running your 10K. It's just an example, okay? Maybe you run in the evenings, who knows? But there's always something we need to let go of. I had to let go of my identity as being a primary school teacher. I had to let go of so many ideas I had about myself, like limiting ideas about not being able to be a businesswoman or not being able to be somebody who could earn money off my own back, right? Huge identity shift. And there were so many things that I had to let go of. Right. So that's a lot to get you going with. I then teach when I work with my clients, and this is available in the free course that I've got on my website about how to create your money and life goals. The next step in creating your goals, like once you've actually gone through and identified why is it, what's your compelling reason, what do you need to let go of, what identity do you need to step into, once you've answered those questions, then the next part is the action piece. Then you've got to actually start taking action, right? And there will for sure be skill-based action that you might need to take in terms of maybe there's some certain skills that you need to learn. Maybe there's a running technique that you need to learn. I don't know. Maybe there's a particular type of running shoe you need to get or something like that. For me, when I was creating my $54,000 goal, I had to learn so many business skills. Oh my goodness, if I only knew what I had to learn back then. I'm glad I didn't know back then because I probably would have been overwhelmed, right? Of the amount of learning I needed to go through. But the next steps in creating your goals so they actually create is to go through and brainstorm all the things that you need to do to achieve the goal, the actual action steps that you need to take. And then you need to work out strategies for how you're going to do that. Now, in the free course that's on my website, I actually take you through that step by step, and I'm going to direct you to go there because otherwise I think this podcast is going to get too long. Listen to my questions now, go back, pause, and go back through this if you're working on a goal right now, because I promise you doing these questions will make all the difference to achieving your goals. If you have the answers, this information, it's priceless because it will help you actually create the money and life goals that you want to create, right? But once you've done that work, once you've done that mindset, it's more inner work, based work, right? The next step is the outer work, the actual action you need to take. And I take you through that in the free course. So go and get your hands on that. I think last week and this week, I'm telling you about 2 free resources. I don't want to confuse you, but basically you should just go get both of them, right? Get the free resource, which is the course on how to create your money and life goals, because that's going to take you through the next steps. And then also go and get the workbook on the 3 steps to change your relationship with money, because they go hand in hand, girlfriend. Like if you're setting money and life goals, you for sure want to also work on your relationship with money. They are like 2 peas in a pod together. So go and get both those free resources, and I will make sure there are links to both of those in the show notes. And when I say show notes, what I mean is wherever you're listening to this podcast, if you're listening to it on your phone, like on iTunes or Spotify, for example, just click on the episode that you're listening to and just scroll down, and there'll be a little blurb about the episode, and in it there'll be a link to the resources that I'm telling you about, okay? I've got you, girl. I want you changing your relationship with money, and I want you to be able to create your money and life goals. That is what this is all about. And remember, I love to hear from you. I absolutely love building relationships with people who listen to this podcast. I'm approachable. I'm a normal person. I'm standing in my office right now on one leg like a bird. What are those birds that stand on their one leg when you see them out in, documentaries in Africa? For some reason, I can't think of the word, but I look like one of those birds right now. I'm in my workout gear still from the morning, so I just didn't get around to having a shower. I'm totally normal, and I love to hear from you. If you reach out to me on Instagram, I will talk back to you. You can ask me questions, say hi, get on there, tell me, hey, I listened to the podcast. You told me to get on here, say hi. I'll say hi back to you. Tell me what your goals are. I would love to cheer you on. Seriously, I live for this shit. I love cheering women on to create their money and life goals. And likewise, if you want to shoot me an email, if you're on my email list, just reply to any of the emails that I send out. I will see it personally, and I will write back to you if you write to me. I'd love to connect with you. All right. Until I get in your ears next week, have an amazing week. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the Money Mindful podcast. For future episodes, be sure to subscribe. Ready to take the next steps? Creating your money and life goals can be super challenging if you don't have a process to follow. Get my free course that will help you get unstuck, clarify your goals, and get you going. For more info, go to meaghanjsmith.au.